We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
Welcome to our podcast. Today we are talking about purpose and what life wants from you. Instead of what do you want from life? So maybe we can start with a little exercise. So we focus on the question, what do I want from life? And then just observe how that feels, what comes up for you. Okay. How do you feel? What happens?
I feel that my mind is like, oh, that's a heavy question. I feel a bit heavy on the chest.
Yeah.
What I want from life. Now I have to do so many things.
Yeah. You have to think about stuff.
Yeah. I have to think, and there is a lot of, for me, it feels that there is a lot of action involved to it.
Yeah. There's some pressure behind it.
Pressure.
Feels a bit like a pressure cooker. It's like, okay, I have to achieve something. I have to do something.
Yeah.
I have to, yeah.
And the funny thing is that I see my father behind that question. And I see some teachers behind that question.
Wow. Okay.
So, from conditioning, from a conditioning standpoint, they're kind of...
a lot of stuff is happening then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I experienced the same thing, sort of a pressure cooker. It's like, it's not panic yet, but it's like, that's such a large question.
Yeah.
Let's do another exercise. Now we change the question. We change the perspective. So what does life want from you? And now feel when you ask yourself that question. How was that for you?
It feels that there is a lot of weight feeling off my shoulders. It feels that I don't feel that I have to do so much.
Right.
I have more the feeling of if I really embrace the question what life wants from me, I can just let it come. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it feels so much more connected.
Absolutely. I have exactly the same thing. I hope this might be a weird start of a podcast. Absolutely. But we wanted to hit this home, right? I think when you do this, and you can restart the video if you want, restart the audio of this thing, just to do the exercise. I think you can feel what we feel as well. And this is a huge thing, because when we talk about purpose, real purpose in life, and your true potential, it's something that wants to come through. It's not something that you push. It's something that you allow to happen. Right?
Yeah.
And why are we asking this question? Why this podcast? Because the whole Qigong process is aligned to serve this turnaround thing.
Yeah.
Because the stagnation that happens when you think about what you want from life, this stagnation you could be carrying for the rest of your days.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean you are unhappy the whole time. It doesn't mean, but it creates an unrest. It creates something, a sort of pushing thing. Whereas the other way doesn't mean you don't do anything anymore. No, you can work as hard as that, but it will be in support of something that wants to come through you. So this is something higher that you are opening yourself for.
I think even in asking the questions, you feel where the energy comes from, and where there is more flow. And do you have this energy behind you, or are you going against energy to push through and to
Well, the one will distract yourself out of the moment. It will get yourself into, oh my God, the future. Where do I come from? Where do I want to go? And you project. When you start asking the other question, what life wants from you, it gets you in the moment.
Absolutely.
It makes you present.
Yeah.
It makes you reconnect with the moment and then the energy of the moment and what actually wants to come through in that moment. So instead of like forcing your decisions throughout the day, it's more like allow that to come through, and then what happens?
Yeah.
So when we look at purpose, which is very much related to your full potential, you could say, they're so connected, but they're both about allowing something through.
Yeah.
And what happens, when you allow that, this energy, because it's energy, it's pure energy.
Completely. So now we've done this exercise, and well, I felt it very strongly, and it's funny how it keeps there things keep coming up while talking about this.
Can you still talk, or is it just
it's
hard, right?
It's hard.
Because it's like, oh wow, now we're all these words,
Yeah. Oh,
okay, end of the podcast.
Can we?
We said
relax?
it all.
Yeah.
Because it triggers something, right?
It triggers.
It opens the door to an energy that's otherwise stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I will close the door.
Try anyway. Come on, try anyway. Yeah.
And keep talking again.
Yeah, sure.
But there is a lot of stuff happening. But now looking at Qigong.
Right.
Because you said, okay, the Qigong process is, facilitating the process to get to your purpose, or to help you see your purpose, but also live your purpose.
Live your purpose, support your purpose, because it's all energy. But the thing, so if we go through it pretty quickly, it's all about recognizing the vibrational skills. So who are we on the most physical level, the vital energy level, the astral level, mental level, and then what is the reality we live in, the energy reality. So the ether, the Wuji, Akasha, as we call it, the platform where, life happens, if you will, this vacuum. And then non-dual light, which is the source of life, you could say, that moves through these layers and can come through all these plateaus into the physical plane as well, right? So the whole Qigong process is there to recognize and reconnect with all these levels. That will do something to you. It will be profound, right? If you start tuning into the vital energy body, is like, oh, wait a minute, I am alive. It's not something I think or something that, no, it's really, and it's an experience, right? So we start experiencing ourselves on these levels. But not only that, you start recognizing the stagnations there. You start recognizing the weaknesses there. You start strengthening these in the process, in the Qigong process, right? You start balancing into equanimity. You start doing a lot of mental training. You start expanding the mind, the consciousness, right? So in short, we go from a contracted state where nothing really can work through because it's a closed fist. We start opening this and not not this sort of opening, right? But no, we start really opening it. We start a support system. We start opening the construction so that the dissolving of the question that has been haunting us up till this podcast is like, what do I want from life? All this stagnation and keeping you out of the moment can step by step start dissolving, because obviously it's a process, And then now you can start opening yourself for this light to come through. And there is your purpose and your full potential. And the whole Qigong process is aimed at that. So yeah, of course, we have all sorts of energy exercises and stuff like that, but it's all for the higher support, right? The support of the higher, you could better say, that wants to move through you. Right in the center of it all is your spirit. So it's all about spiritual awakening, which starts happening from the moment we start practicing the ball exercise. Because what happens, you start observing.
Yeah.
And when you start observing, you are out of the reactionary mind. You are out of the rational mind. And we start strengthening that, and becoming the observer, starting to concentrate, start to becoming more aware of the moment. And now a good story starts to tell itself. Because we all have talents. We have specific talents, right, Didi?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then, this is how it goes. It will work through these talents.
Yeah. And one of the words that come to mind when you're talking about this, and also my own experience, and also the exercise that we started with, your perspective will change every step of the way.
Yeah.
Like the switch you just made with the question, but in every level you change perspective on yourself, on all different situations, on you in an energy world. When we practiced awakening the energy body, it was a huge awakening for me in so many ways. Now I could already feel everything around me, but now I could really look for it. It was so much more on purpose.
Exactly. And also the things we've been going through lately, where you start asking the question, like, what does life want from me? That's one question. But also it's like you identify maybe something in yourself and you start, instead of wanting to get rid of it, maybe something like you have an injury or something that's there. And now you start asking the questions like, so what does this injury want to tell me? If you start asking it a question.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I want to get rid of this injury. Yeah. It's like, maybe this injury wants to tell you something.
Yeah.
Right? You start asking the question differently. You come from a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
And there's so much more flow in these questions. And if you're open to it and you can come into the moment, the answer will come.
Yeah.
And this will guide you along your path.
Oh, so much more.
Yeah.
So much more. Yeah, and that's beautiful. If you where you just ended with talent.
Yeah.
Everyone
all have gifts
has,
and talents.
Absolutely, it's just that we're sometimes so close on these things that we don't see them as talents, and maybe it's just a given for you. So we have to reinvent ourselves to be able to see what our talents are,
of course,
in this world. And that can be something so completely different from what you're conditioned of what should be your talent.
Right. And when you say this word conditioned, I immediately feel a contraction happening.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with this. Obviously, I mean, we're in this together, and I think hopefully for people listening, they will feel these changes as well while we're talking about it. So if you start looking for the openness, you start following that, then it will tell itself, right? Yeah. Out of the spiritual awakening. So being more and more present with this higher, it will just find its way. And the spirit wants to come out. It really does. Yeah. So this is what life actually wants from you. Is that you wake up.
Yeah.
Is that you start coming here. Yeah. And there's a step-by-step Qigong process that takes you through all the layers. Yeah. Starts working through them. Because this is not done overnight, right? Although some changes, like maybe even listening to this podcast, will awaken something in you. So this is also an important thing, is that while in this process, you will recognize some exercises that you really I say that feel in tune with. It's like you hear something, it's like something is like this wakes me up and I want to pursue that. That's your spirit. Yeah. That is your spirit, because it sort of ignites a little fire in you. It's like, oh, wait a minute. This is special. I need to follow this. And trusting that process as well is a huge part of what we're doing. Absolutely. So the Qigong part is there to support the spirit. You're not here to support the Qigong process. That's a really important one. Time and time again, I have to tell this to people. It's like, but what, am I doing it right? Am I okay? I'm going to take you through all these layers, right? Explore them and then see what's happening. But in the meantime, you have to be aware and awake of what happens in you and start following that. Yeah. You are already a master. The only thing we have to do is recognize the stagnations in between and let them go, change them, change behaviors, change the thoughts, change all these things. And then it will move through you. So a closed fist, there's no flow there. We start opening it and now something can come through. Yeah. That's it.
That's beautiful. Well, I think we leave you with this.
Yeah.
And hope it was helpful for you.
Yeah, start asking this question. Yeah. That's my tip for you. Start asking this question more and more and journal what wants to come through, and make this your adventure. And hopefully also, see the Qigong process in a larger perspective that wants to get you here.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.